Can you outrun a lion? How about Ethan Zohn? We are counting down the top 10 craziest moments from Survivor Africa, from strategic meltdowns to the most awkward reward in history. So hop on in the safari van and let's get started. Did your favorite moment make the cut? Drop a comment down below and let me know which scene still haunts your Survivor dreams. In 2002, Survivor finally gave the fans what they've been waiting for, a good guy win. Coming in at the number 10 spot on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa, we have the ultimate fan favorite victory. Ethan Zohn's victory in Survivor Africa wasn't just a win, it was a relief. After Richard Hatch's cutthroat manipulation and Tina Wesson's subtle but unpopular win, fans were desperate for a winner they could actually root for. Enter Ethan, calm, likable, athletic, good looking, and most importantly, not a backstabber.
We've got some weak spots, little holes there. You know, they can slide under right down here, so we're just trying to beef things up a bit.
That's the thing, Ethan wasn't the biggest strategist, but he played an honest game and people loved him for it. He was the moral compass of the Big Three alliance with Lex and Tom, a trio that dominated the season strategically and physically. But it wasn't just that he was good at the game, Ethan genuinely cared about people.
I brought this hacky sack as my luxury item, and like, when am I going to use this? And so then we just started, kicking it around and playing.
Ethan embodied the kind of player that fans had been rooting for since the first season. They wanted a fun-loving Pagong tribe to win over the ruthless Taggies in Borneo. They wanted the Coochas to win after Michael Scoopin's accident in the Australian outback. They loved the father-daughter duo of Elizabeth and Roger over the cold and calculating Tina. But none of those dreams came true until now.
The winner of Survivor Africa.
The crowd exploded. This was the moment where Survivor proved that sometimes the good guy does win. Ethan wasn't just a popular win, he was the first one to be universally beloved. In fact, until Tom Westman won Palau, Ethan was the only Survivor winner with universal fan approval. He wasn't the flashiest player, he wasn't the most dominant, but Ethan Zohn was the first fan favorite winner, and in 2002, that was exactly what Survivor needed. Ethan may have been Survivor's first fan favorite winner, but his closest ally, well, he was just busy being Survivor's first fan favorite disaster. Coming in at number 9 on our list of the craziest moments in Survivor Africa is Big Tom's drunken safari. It's day 31, and after an emotional reward challenge where castaways received tear-jerking video messages from loved ones, Lex Vanderberg snags a victory, earning himself an all-expenses-paid trip to a luxury African safari lodge. And because he's a generous man, he gets to take one tri-mate along. Lex makes the only choice that guarantees absolute chaos. He picks Big Tom, and just like that, 2 grown men are whiskeyed away to paradise, while the rest of the tribe is left behind, eating mush and making homemade playing cards. Poor suckers. Little do they know they're about to miss out on one of the greatest, most feral, and liquor-soaked rewards in Survivor history. From the moment they arrive, Big Tom is a kid in a candy store, or rather a grown man reunited with civilization.
Can you believe it? Cool.
Then, the moment of the trip, Tom and Lex step into their private bathroom.
Our own pooper. That's it. Oh. Hey, tattoo.
And yes, he immediately tests it out. Forget luxury, forget fine dining, this man is just happy to have plumbing. But the adventure is just beginning. Tom and Lex embark on a safari, witnessing the greatest wildebeest migration, a breathtaking once-in-a-lifetime sight. Tom, however, has a slightly different take.
Crazier than hell. They're ugly. They're ugly as a girl I used to date back home.
And of course, he doesn't just watch the wildebeest, he joins in.
It's the damnedest thing you ever seen. They sound like me on a good Saturday night when I get home.
Lex, meanwhile, is having a spiritual experience. Big Tom, he's just making Saturday night noises. Back at camp, their tribe mates are starving, barely surviving on corn mush. Meanwhile, Tom and Lex, they're thriving.
Both Tom and I like to tip a cocktail back now and again at home. And so our first thought coming back was I'd kill somebody to get a nice cold beer in me.
At dinner, their drinks are flowing and Big Tom is loving life.
I've never drank beer with a mustache before.
Cool. I've never drunk beer with a hippo before.
Comedy gold. Then the lamb arrives and Big Tom is transformed.
And I'm a meat eater. I mean, that salad stuff, it's nice for women or something, but I like meat. It was absolutely melting your mouth.
Francis, beautiful.
By the end of the night, Big Tom is obliterated and Lex has seen enough.
Tom was spent. So I took him to bed. Here we go. Follow me.
The next morning, Tom wakes up with a pounding headache, a heart full of gratitude, and absolutely no memory of what happened. A reward for the ages and a hangover to match. Coming in at number 8, the legendary rivalry between Kelly Goldsmith and Lex Vanderberg. A feud so intense, so game-changing, so completely one-sided. Lex got paranoid, Kelly didn't even do anything, and then boom, she's gone. That's it. That's the rivalry. Thanks for playing, Kelly.
We're tied, 4 votes each. Lex and Kelly. Last vote. Kelly.
While Kelly was spiraling into paranoia and misery, Ethan was out here thriving. Coming in at number 7 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa is Ethan and Lex's goat barter adventure. After winning a challenge that involved literally stomping on things,
Ethan needs one. There it is. That's it. It's over. Ethan wins.
Ethan earned a chance to barter 2 goats in an African village. He picked Lex to join him because he was the runner-up, but mostly because he didn't want to piss anyone off.
Was close to winning, but didn't.
Lex because he came in second, and that's my only clarification for coming.
And with that, 2 unprepared American dudes were set loose in a bustling Kenyan marketplace. Armed with livestock they had no idea how to sell.
You know, watching 2 very out-of-place guys chucking goats out of huge trucks, we were the laughingstock before we even set foot in the village.
Negotiation tactics non-existent. Sales pitch confusing at best. Instead of landing on a peaceful farm, their goats went straight to the butcher. So that's one way to contribute to the local economy.
And he made a beeline, not 20 feet away from us, straight into the butchery. Oh, you got a good deal? Be that as may, we had $25 to spend.
But hey, nothing cures existential guilt like French fries and beer. Ethan and Lex blew half their cash on the greatest, most glorious meal of their lives.
French fries ever had in my life.
The platters were huge. They were swimming in about 1/8 of an inch of like grease or oil, which was perfect.
After the spiritual experience, they put together their last bit of money for camp gifts, cookies, trinkets, and a few half-hearted apologies.
Ate a bunch of food when they were eating, you know, a tiny portion of mush. Ethan got you guys treats. Everyone got 2.
A top-tier reward, food, shopping, cultural immersion, absolutely nothing could ruin the vibe, except Lex immediately coming back to camp and going full mob boss over a single stray vote.
The person that threw that vote at me and that now chooses to hide torques me, and it pisses me off that I can't figure it out and smoke him out right away.
Survivor, where even the happiest moments come with a side of chaos. Being gate. Survivor fans have been debating this incident for over 2 decades, so let's keep this short and messy, just like the incident itself. Coming in at number 6, we have Clarence and the beans. Tale as old as time, man stays back, man is hungry, man eats beans, but the problem, that man was Clarence, and he was not in the majority.
I got her something to eat, so we split it while she was gone, just so she could feel better when she does.
I just wanted to make
I ain't gotta eat.
Okay, I just wanted
It
to
ain't
make
no big deal.
But sharing food with a sick tribe mate while everyone else was away was a big deal to the members of Boron. A sick tribe mate, stolen beans, and one very dramatic Big Tom later.
It was a judgment call. It was a judgment call I made.
It was bad damage judgment. There's 8 of us.
You guys were gone.
It don't matter. We're all making it. You can't make the decision.
Yes, how helpful to say. Thanks, Big Tom. Naturally, Clarence was public enemy #1 after this. But in a game of strength, the tribe needed him, so Diane got the boot instead.
Diane, the tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go.
Yeah.
A can of beans, a broken alliance, and a whole lot of overreacting. That's classic Survivor, but let's move on to the next entry. Survivor has had its fair share of blunders, misplayed idols, advantage chaos, Jeff Probst being sassy, but nothing compares to a production mistake so bad that CBS literally had to pay for it. A mistake so disastrous that it changed the course of the entire game. Welcome to number 5 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa with the Final 4 challenge. It's day 37 and the Final 4, Lex, Tom, Ethan, and Kim are gearing up for one of the most important immunity challenges of the game, Fallen Comrades. A simple concept, answer questions about the eliminated castaways. Get the most right, you win immunity.
We're going to reveal how much you guys have learned about your fellow tribe members. You've had a lot of conversations. How much listening have you really done?
The challenge is tight, everyone is locked in, every point matters, and then the final question. Which female survivor does not have any body piercings, including her ears? Kim answers Kelly, Lex answers Lindsay, Probst declares Kim correct, Kim wins immunity, Lex and Tom left vulnerable. And then disaster, because here's the thing, Lindsay doesn't actually have any piercings either. That's right, Jeff Probst got the answer wrong. Lex's answer should have been correct, meaning that he and Kim should have tied, meaning the challenge should have continued, meaning who knows, maybe Lex wins, maybe he changes history, but instead production shrugged their shoulders and let it slide.
Game is over. Kim, congratulations. Well earned. Slide it on. It's the first time you've had it.
Tom is voted out this round and Lex is voted out the next. And how do you fix a mistake that could have cost someone $1 million? With money, of course. To avoid a potential lawsuit, CBS handed Lex and Tom a nice, crisp $100,000 each. The standard payout for the runner-up of a given season, instead of the usual 3rd and 4th place winnings. Because when all else fails, throw money at the problem and hope nobody notices.
I spent 38 days here. I played as hard as I could. I played straight and honest and true.
The truth is, Lex still loses to Ethan if he makes the end. But what if this had been a closer battle? What if the mistake had changed the result? What if Kim didn't win immunity and she went home at Final 4? We will never know. What we do know is this is the biggest production screw up of all time. Unlike Colby's swiping coral from the Great Barrier Reef, Survivor had no one to blame but themselves for this blunder. The tribe may have spoken, but CBS definitely paid the price.
Big Tom,
Good idea. Thank you.
tribe has spoken.
Survivor has had its share of awkward romances, Jenna and Sean, Jerry and Colby, but nothing could have prepared us for this. A date so mismatched, so absurd, so uncomfortable, it almost broke reality itself. Welcome to number 4 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa with an unlikely date. It's day 26 on Survivor and Treemail arrives with a simple instruction. Pair up. The tribe, trying to keep it fair, draws names randomly. And fate, cruel, hilarious, and absolutely unforgiving, decides that Brandon and Frank must team up.
And Brandon and Frank.
Work that rubber
Very
game.
interesting. Let the games begin.
Let the game.
Frank, a tough, old-school, military-loving outdoorsman, and Brandon, a flamboyant, outspoken, city-loving bartender. These two don't just have nothing in common, they actively dislike each other.
Believe me, I did not pick Brandon. Brandon would be the last person on earth I would pick. I cringed because I saw everyone pairing up.
And then, somehow, they win. These two dominate the reward challenge, crushing their competition, and are sent off on the strangest, most reluctant romantic reward in Survivor history.
Brandon and Frank!
Their prize, a private moonlight movie night in the African wilderness, complete with hot dogs, popcorn, and all the Mountain Dew they could drink. And what's the movie? Out of Africa, a sweeping romance, the most romantic movie they could possibly be forced to watch together. Back at camp, the others lose their minds about this duo, even winning in the first place.
Brandon would be Frank's taskmaster. Brandon had a whip on Frank. Go, go, go!
Meanwhile, on their date, Frank is calm, arms crossed, staring at the screen in silence. Brandon sipping soda, munching popcorn, loving how much this is annoying Frank. To Frank, this is torture. To Brandon, it's pure comedy.
Be quiet and watch the damn movie. Yeah, the company could have been better, but we simply had popcorn, we had pop, we watched a movie. It's history, it's over with. Let's move forward.
And yet, despite all the awkwardness, despite their differences, they bonded in the way that two people forced to endure the world's weirdest blind date have to bond. Unfortunately, though, it didn't last 2 days later.
Brandon, the tribe has spoken.
Before Brandon got eliminated, he changed the course of Survivor history forever. Welcome to number 3 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa, Brandon's vote. It's day 24 in Survivor Africa, and Lex Vanderberg is vulnerable. His paranoia over a rogue vote has made him a target. A plan is in place to take him out, and it's foolproof, as long as one person doesn't screw up. But then, there's Brandon. He has every reason to flip on Lex. He doesn't trust him. His alliance with Kim, Teresa, and Frank is perfectly set up to send Lex home in a 5-4 vote. All he has to do is put his vote on Lex, and boom, Lex is gone.
I smell a rat, and my gut tells me that you stabbed me in the back and you're playing both sides. And if that's the case, then good riddance.
But instead of making the obvious move, Brandon does the opposite. Why? Because he hates Frank. That's it. That's the reason. So instead of flipping, he votes for Kelly just to spite Frank keeping Lex in the game. And here's where it gets crazy. Because if Lex goes home here, he's probably not on All-Stars. And you know who probably is on All-Stars? Kelly Goldsmith. And certainly not Amber Burkich, aka Amber Mariano. If Amber isn't on All-Stars, Boston Rob doesn't make that deal to save her, which means maybe Rob and Amber never fall in love. And if Amber isn't there, she definitely doesn't win All-Stars.
The winner of Survivor All-Stars.
And that's just the beginning, because this one move didn't just change Africa, it might have changed the entire direction of Survivor itself. What does a world without Amber's win look like? Does Boston Rob play heroes versus villains? What about winners at war? Brandon's vote didn't just affect this one season, it reshaped the very DNA of Survivor. And if you want to deep dive into the full butterfly effect, how this one mistake changed casting, strategy, and the biggest player in the game, let's make it happen. If this video gets 300 likes, I'll break down exactly how one petty vote changed the entire course of Survivor history.
This is a kicker. I made a promise to Lex that I would vote this way tonight, and I'm probably going to bite it, but I really am doing it.
Survivor is a game of strength, endurance, and strategic cunning. Or, in Teresa Cooper's case, musical theater and children's games. In the first individual immunity challenge of Survivor Africa, welcome to number 2 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa, the first individual immunity challenge. It's day 20 and the game is about to change. The remaining 10 players merge into one tribe, they celebrate, they get their new buffs, and then bam! Jeff immediately throws them into their first individual immunity challenge. No time to settle in, no time to strategize. If you want to stay safe, you better be ready to suffer. The challenge is simple. Each player must stand on a log with one arm raised, holding a rope that's connected to a bucket of water. Move too much, get drenched, lose immunity. It's a Survivor staple now, but at the time, this was brutal. One by one, the castaways drop. Kelly lasts 14 minutes, Kim isn't far behind, then Jeff starts offering food, and suddenly, people who could keep going, yeah, they don't. First, Brandon drops for a burger, then Big Tom, Frank, and Ethan all decide food is more important than safety, but 2 people refuse to go down, Teresa and Clarence. It's a showdown between one of the most physical players in the game and a 42-year-old flight attendant from Georgia. Teresa shouldn't have a shot, but while Clarence is struggling, Teresa's out there putting on a show. That's right, while Clarence is visibly exhausted, Teresa is singing Annie. The remaining players, already stuffed with burgers, are loving it. But Clarence, he is dying. Then, after 6 hours, Clarence cracks. Instead of going for a battle of endurance, he suggests rock, paper, scissors.
Let's compromise. Rock, paper, scissors.
Clarence, I have too much to lose. There's too many of you.
T-Bird, with her arms still raised, agrees. They throw. Clarence picks rock. Teresa picks paper. Game, set, match.
Paper comes rock.
And just like that, the woman who was never supposed to beat an athlete outlasted him without even breaking a sweat. This moment remains as one of the strangest and most unexpected immunity wins in Survivor history. Not because T-Bird won, she was a strong social and strategic player, but because of how she won. Survivor teaches us that strength comes in different forms. Some win by being the strongest, the smartest, or the most strategic. But T-Bird, she was just vibing.
You gotta trust me.
You trust me?
You trust me?
Imagine thinking you've got Survivor all figured out, your alliances are tight, your tribe is loyal, and you're about to cruise into the merge. And then Jeff Probst laughs in your face. Welcome to number 1 on our list of the craziest moments from Survivor Africa with the first ever tribe swap.
Pick 3 from your tribe to go on a quest. You get to decide who you feel would be the best.
Vote or draw straws.
They assume it's a reward. They pick Silas, T-Bird, and Frank. Huge mistake. Jeff Probst has other plans.
As you guys have certainly figured out by now, the game of Survivor is always changing, and it's about to change again. If you guys could give me your buffs.
Silas is now on Boron, stuck with 2 people he previously screwed over. Meanwhile, Boron's Lex, Tom, and Kelly, they just infiltrated Sambaru. This wasn't just a twist, this was production actively deciding Silas was having too much fun. Before the swap, Silas was a king, calling the shots, making alliances, and walking around like he already won. Then came the swap, and suddenly he was a dead man walking. Boron already had a tight alliance. Frank and T-Bird out for revenge. 5 players, 1 Silas, and easy vote. They just had to make sure they went to tribal council. Enter Survivor's first successful challenge throw. Boron walked into the puzzle-based immunity challenge knowing exactly what needs to happen.
You don't have teamwork, you will lose. For the winners, at least 3 more days in Africa, 1 step closer to the merge. For the losers, another visit to tribal council.
Which of course is exactly what they did. Ethan suddenly can't put pieces together. Kim conveniently forgets how puzzles work. Clarence not in a rush.
We need a sharp point right there, Ethan. Does that fit? No,
Then Sambaru finishes first, Jeff calls it, and just like that, Silas is done. And Silas does try to scramble, but Boron isn't budging.
The 4th and deciding vote. Silas. No need to read the other 2. You need to bring me your torch, Silas.
And with that, the first ever victim of a tribe swap was out. Before this, Survivor was predictable. You stuck with your tribe. You could rely on majority numbers. After this, all bets were off. Don't go wandering off to the watering hole just yet. Click right here for the top 10 craziest moments of Survivor Marquesas.